I want you to think about the last time you had to tell your child to go and revise. Think about that moment, that request, the response, the negotiation, the counter negotiation, the moment you found yourself explaining for the fourth time that the exam is very soon and the revision does need to happen, and your child looking at you with an expression that suggested you were both completely right and deeply unreasonable at the same time. I want to tell you something about your child in that moment. They knew they should be revising. They knew that the exam was coming. They felt the gap between what they were doing and what they should be doing was a big gap. You see that gap? That was producing a very specific emotion in them. And that gap has a name. It's called psychological stress. And the reason they were on their phone or tied in their room or suddenly very interested in what was happening in the kitchen or some random TV show that they would never ordinarily watch. Maybe it's that show on Sunday that I used to watch, which was called Songs of Praise. It's not because they don't care. It's because the brain was trying to move them away from something that scares them, something that could be considered a threat. So understanding this changes everything about how you respond. So here's what's happening neurologically when your child can't start. The anticipation of the exam, the deadline, the pressure, the possibility that they'll get things wrong, the possibility that they'll get things right, the possibility of failure activates the same response that evolved to help humans survive physical danger millions of years ago. That thing is called cortisol, the stress response. So elevated heart rate, this part of the brain, the prefrontal cortex, this is responsible for rational thinking, decision making. This goes partially offline. The prefrontal cortex is the part of the brain that does calm, analytical, goal-directed thinking. It's also the part of the brain that says, I know I don't feel like it, but I'm going to open those notes and start anyway. But when the stress response kicks in, that voice gets quieter and quieter and quieter. And the older, faster, threat-avoidant part of the brain, that gets louder and louder. And that part of the brain is very good at one thing: finding reasons to be somewhere else. So the phone isn't laziness. The snack isn't avoidance. The sudden interest in doing something, anything other than revising, is your child's brain running a protection program it didn't ask for and can't easily override. You cannot override it with pressure. That does the opposite. You cannot override it with reminders about the exam. Adding more awareness of the threat does not reduce the stress response. It amplifies it. Imagine you're scared about doing something and someone says, you know that thing that you're going to do and you're going to do and you're going to do, does that calm it or does it make it worse? See, it's the same with grown-ups as it is for kids. But what overrides it is a physical interrupt, a pattern break, something that short-circuits the avoidance loop before it gets going. And that's where the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 rule comes in. You see, the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 rule is pretty simple. The moment you feel the urge to hesitate, pause, don't do it, is the moment between knowing what you should and actually doing it. You count backwards out loud. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And then in that moment you move. Like a sprint starter. Ready. Take your marks, get set, go. That's it. That is the whole rule. Now, in the olden days, if you were a dancer, you may choose a different rule, which is 5, 6, 7, 8, 1. Obviously, not so much of a dancer. But the important thing, they always get back to 1. You see, here's what the neuroscience says. When you count backwards from 5, you use this rational part, the prefrontal cortex, the deliberate, goal-directed part of your brain. You cannot count backwards and run an avoidance program at the same time. The count interrupts that pattern, and the physical movement that follows activates the action system before the hesitation can rebuild. You see, motivation doesn't come before the action. That's the single most important thing I want you to take away from this video. We're all waiting for motivation to arrive before we start things. It doesn't work like that. Motivation comes after you begin. The engagement becomes once you're in it. The feeling is that this is okay. This is manageable. I can do just this one tiny step. That comes 30 seconds after starting, not 30 seconds before. I hate to say this, but your child will never feel like starting. And neither will you. Nobody feels like starting. The 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 removes the need to feel like it. So how can we introduce this rule to our kids? So I want to be direct with you about this, because the way you introduce it matters enormously. Imagine standing over your child at 9:30 on a Sunday evening when they haven't started revising, and you're both frustrated, and you say, "Oh, I read this thing that Martin talked about on this video program. It's called the 5-second rule. You should try it. Let's do it. Count down. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. Let's count with me." That won't work. That is not how this gets adopted. But here's what does work. You see, if you watch the student version alongside this or before them, you'll both understand what it is and why it works. And then when you see the moment of hesitation, the moment where they know they should start and they're about to reach for their phone, reach for a snack, or use this keyword, "I am just," you can say something very simple. Just 5 seconds. That's all. Not a lecture, not a reminder about the exams, just 5 seconds. They know what it means. You've acknowledged the moment without adding the pressure, and you've offered the tool without making it confrontational. The other thing you can do, and this is the thing that makes the biggest difference, is use it yourself, in front of them, out loud, in front of them. When you don't want to do something, when you're procrastinating on your own tasks, count down. Let's imagine you want to do some exercise and it's raining, it's cold, there's something else to do. Or you want to do that thing that you've been talking about all day, but there's something getting in the way. When you're procrastinating on your own tasks, count down, let them hear it. Right, I don't want to do this, but 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then do it. Children learn almost nothing from being told what to do. They learn almost everything from watching adults model behavior. If they see you using the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 rule on your own hesitation, it becomes a household tool rather than a parenting instruction. That's an entirely different thing. The last thing I want to say to you And it's really, really important part of this video. You are a part of your child's stress system. The research on co-regulation, the way regulated adults help regulate the nervous systems of the people around them, is clear and consistent. When you are calm, your child's stress response moderates. When you are anxious, when you are stressed, when you're worried with them, it amplifies. Your worry about the exams is real and it is valid. And it's real and it's valid because you care. You've invested multi years to prepare your young people for these tough moments.